back to the Small Business Adventures channel. Today I have two amazing guests here that I actually work very closely with. I love working with them and I think they have a lot of value to bring, especially to the mental health space. But before I get started, I just want to give a quick thank you to our productions manager and our very important person, Cosmic Creations. Shout out to Ed, thank you so much. And again, this is Gabi Vargas, this is AJ. Welcome guys to the channel. You know, such a pleasure to have you guys here today. And kind of introduce yourselves.
Well, ladies first.
Thank you, Edgar, for having us. My name is Gabi Vargas, and yes, I'm the owner of Poiema Studio and the founder of the Gabi Vargas Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Well, my name is AJ, just AJ. There's nothing else after that, just AJ. I am technically the co-founder. I would like to say the co-beater-upper of suicide. You know what I'm saying? We don't mess with it here. We're trying to fight back.
That's right.
My name is AJ, and I'm grateful to be part of Poiema. You know what I'm saying? I do a lot of good work here. We do drumming circles. You know what I'm saying? Just bringing hope to the community is what I will.
Positive vibes only.
Positive.
Thank you for allowing us the space to share about Poiema and what it has to offer in the community. I think it's important for people to know that we're here.
Yeah, very much so.
No, thank you guys. Actually, we're actually here today at the Poiema Studio, and it's a blessing. You know, I've been here a couple times, and every time I come here, I definitely feel the energy, the positivity, and the beautifulness of the studio and the artwork around it. So let's get started, guys. So really, I want to ask you a very important question, and I think we kind of all my episodes kind of begin with this question, and what really motivated you guys to start doing this, because this is something that you guys work hard at. You guys work hard 24/7. You guys are dedicated. You guys are passionate. So what brought you guys to doing this amazing work that you guys do?
Should I go first? Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So
Your name is
I
on
became.
the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I became a suicide loss survivor for the first time in 2012 when I lost my friend who was 22 years old, and then I lost my cousin who was 18 years old in 2015, and then. That was the first time I actually realized personally how much help I needed. I actually had planned my suicide a year prior, and then after his loss, I really struggled with the idea that was my way out of my suffering and out of like my hopelessness. And then through creating awareness and doing all these events, I started finding healing for myself.
Wow. And
then just coming across people that shared their stories with me. Then I became a youth mental health first aid instructor. I wanted people to be able to know the signs, and I wanted to help survivors, so I became a suicide grief support specialist.
Wow.
And that's when COVID hit, and I wasn't able to have my group at Sherman Hospital anymore, so I started doing a virtual group, and that's actually where I met AJ, because we run a mental...
Shout out to AJ.
Yeah. We run a mental wellness support group, and we didn't have a space to meet with people. Obviously, it's such a very vulnerable topic, and people really need privacy when we talk about these things, and so it was God's miracle that we got a location where we could do all of our work.
Wow. What about you, AJ?
It's my turn. Well, all jokes aside, the journey to get here and to get to Poiema was I guess depending on how you see age, 22 isn't that long, I guess, but for me it felt like a long time coming to kind of do this work. It was a culmination of a lot of years of my life of not understanding emotions and not understanding the severity of how I felt.
Yeah.
So as a kid, like I could say I was always a very sensitive child.
Yeah.
I was always very tuned to emotions and how other people reacted around me, and it was good and bad. But for a long time, I just had this sensation of lack of understanding and love, not only from myself, but from everybody around me. So it just kind of, I guess, piled on after a long time. My father and my mother were never together, so there was always the separation, so I got used to always traveling 8 times a year in my life, so I never really had steady friends, or if you could say like friends at all, really.
Yeah.
It was more so I always got to get accustomed to myself.
Yeah.
And the hardest part was I wasn't comfortable with myself, and that's the thing that was really hard, because it's like all I had was myself. In the moments where you're by yourself, like with nobody around you, it's just you.
Yeah.
So for a long time, I was not feeling well. 8th grade came around. I decided to move with my dad, right? And it was a long and strenuous thing. My mom, shout out my mom, though. But
Shout out to AJ's mom. She's amazing.
we had to do this thing where I had to go to court to go see my father. So it took a lot of
Wow.
away from me, in the sense seeing my mom cry and feeling like I hurt her. So I thought about suicide a lot, and I hate saying attempting because I feel like I grabbed the knife and I wanted to do it, but I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fear was, I was prepared. For a moment I was prepared to go that length because I felt like I failed my mom. Living with my dad wasn't what I wanted it to be, and I was just in a dark place. And Gabi kind of brought it up when she said that my mom, that we met in a support group. So I was struggling. My mom could tell. Shout out mom again. My mom could tell. And Gabi met my mother through the chamber, I believe, getting an award. And
that's right.
She hit her up. So this lady calls me.
This lady me.
we talk for a little bit. I tell her that I like spitting bars, and she asked me if anybody would, if I would be willing for people to spit my bars. So I thought this lady was trying to spit my bars. So I didn't talk to her for a whole other year, And then come around 2019, I decided to move back with my mom. I just felt like I needed some change. COVID hits when I start school, and it just sends me into a spiral again. Like I don't have any friends again. It just kind of reminded me of the place I used to be. So my mom again mentioned Gabi. Gabi was doing her support group. I joined. I was definitely not who you see right now. I was hidden, hoodie up, beanie down, like you could really only see the stash. You know what I'm saying? But I had a good stash. It was pretty nice. But
shout out to stash.
But from there, Gabi in the support group opened me up to the idea that I was not alone. I always knew that, but to see it for yourself is, I think, a whole other beast.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like it invokes hope. Seeing somebody else obtain what you desired. Yeah. Which is, I don't want to say serenity, but balance.
Yeah.
Like you find.
That's right.
You find the balance in yourself because you're always going to be feeling these deep emotions, but it doesn't have to always be 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So, but yes, slowly but surely, I started coming out of my shell, and Gabi just gave me an opportunity to start doing work here and fit what I wanted to do, which was send a message to the kids like me, like, yo, it can get better, and it is going to get better.
Yeah, and you're right. And that's the reason why I wanted to bring AJ and Gabi to this interview, because I think that, as business professionals, and just so you guys know, this is a non-for-profit business, another section of business, just the non-for-profit side, and they really have become community leaders, with their drumming circles, with how they advocate for mental health, and especially doing it on the minority side, and that kind of falls into my next question, because being Hispanic, being a minority, what kind of challenges have you guys faced to get to where you guys are, woman and as a man?
I think Gabi could really strike this one.
Well, I think that, with suicide, it's a public health problem that doesn't discriminate. And we saw a lot of stigma, like it didn't necessarily come from like just the minority, but I know that in the minority community, we don't value this topic a lot. We don't value education. So there's always always going to be a little bit more support coming from an end that values the work.
Yeah.
So for me, like in the beginning, I was like, well, do I do this bilingual? Do I just focus in Spanish? And I just realized that there was this door that I had to get through to be able to help the Latino community. And it had to start with people that didn't speak Spanish necessarily. It had to start with people that were going to allow me to knock on doors, that were going to open these doors for me to help the Latino community. Mm-hmm. That's actually why I started the foundation, because I teach youth mental health first aid. It's something that you have to pay for. It's an awesome workshop that helps people know the signs of crisis and how to help someone. But there's a lot of Latino community parents, Latinos in our community, parents and like leaders that are not willing to pay this amount of money sometimes for education. And I'm like, prevention is the best. Education is the best prevention.
Yes.
And I think that's why I said I need to start a foundation to fund the work, because I never want to not be able to provide a service that's a child or a youth needs, or someone that just needs it and we don't have the money, So that is the hopes for this business, to be able to provide services to those that are in need, because like we've talked before, finances is one of the reasons that a lot of people take their life.
Yeah, and that actually goes into my next question. you know, obviously starting a non-for-profit business requires, money. It requires capital to essentially, invest, all the things you guys done today. What I want to ask you guys, just, kind of evolving the topic of finance, why do you guys think it's important to financially educate yourself? And how does that help your mental wellness, your mental well-being?
I think that's probably like the number one thing that helps in this society, because we live in a capitalistic society. No, we're not going deep into politics right now, but capitalism really reigns here. So money makes the world go round here. So of course, I think financial well-being and financial education is very essential, because if you get in a place where you're not financially stable, then that starts to draw in issues of mental health, and then on occasion physical health.
That's right.
It's a very powerful thing that we have on this planet, or in this country for specifically. I can speak for this country, but yeah. So I think financial education is like almost up there with mental health, because they go hand in hand in a sense. If you don't have that here, then how are you going to take care of yourself? Because everything sadly costs money.
Yeah.
To sustain yourself and to
100%
to make the world go round, like I said.
And I think that's the reason why we want to make sure that incorporating some kind of financial topics here at Poiema, and also on the Small Business Ventures channel, because a lot of small business owners, they're individuals. They're people like you and me.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are technically small business owners with the studio and the foundation, and sometimes not having those resources or someone to provide you makes it hard. Makes it hard. You struggle. It's really difficult for you to make ends meet, because you don't have the resources. Because what are you worried about? You're worried about putting a roof over your family's head. You're worried about your employees, especially during this time.
For me, financial health is so important, because I started my adult life with a baby in my arms, and that is a very similar story to a lot of young Latina girls out there. So I know the struggle, and actually when I almost took my life with my children, it was going to be a murder-suicide, and I had $16 in my pocket, and I knew I didn't have anyone I felt like I could go to, because I always felt like I was going to be judged. And I remember going, I shared the story the other day, and it's kind of funny, but like it could have been real, I had a piggy bank, and I was just like, I'm gonna go cash the coins, and I went to a Jewel, and it said the amount, and I accidentally pressed the button that said donate the money. So it is funny, because like I'm sure my mind was not in the right place, and I went out to the parking lot, I remember, and just like falling down to my knees and just telling God, like, I can't, I'm done trying. I've been, trying like to do my best, and it just feels like nothing's getting better. And thank God I didn't follow through with my plan, but I was a few seconds away from taking my life with my boys. And we were just watching the other day on the news how all the murder-suicide cases have spiked since COVID.
Yeah, that's super important.
And it's parents taking the life of their family with their children out of desperation, And so I'm glad we're talking about this, because a lot of people see suicide victims as like selfish or a cowardly act, but at that point it felt like no one's going to take care of my kids. Like, I'm going to take care of them, and if I can't take care of them and I need peace, like, I want them to have peace too.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to understand, but not until you can, like, and I don't want anyone to be in that place, but until you're in a situation, it's when you can really understand people. And just seeing that on the news, I was like, wow. And I think it's going to get worse, because so many people have lost their jobs. Again, financial. If you don't have $40 to pay for a copay to see a therapist or a doctor, who cares if you have health insurance, Some people may have $40 to pay a copay, but they don't have gas to make it to the therapy office.
That's right.
So a lot of people right now are going through a lot of financial crisis, and like I said, that was a breaking point for me, because like what AJ said, if you don't have money, then a lot of things are impossible.
You're right, and I think that's the reason why Gabi and AJ do what they do, because they try to offer a friendly environment to people who struggle with mental health, and we all do. Some of us are just more open about it than others, and I think one of the best examples that you saw this year is the gymnastics, Simone.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to her. because it's okay, as being someone who's talented, professional, smart, it's okay to take a step back and to say, hey, I need to work on my mental game, because that gives you a moment of clarity, and that moment of clarity will also give you chances to grow, financially.
I liken it to like a actual physical muscle. Like you don't work out constantly even if you're not feeling it. Because then you're gonna hurt yourself.
That's right.
And then when you hurt yourself, you don't get any benefits out of that. You end up making that last longer.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
So that's how it is. So that's how I view it. So I think like, wow, that's amazing for her to say that, because again, it is a little still stigmatized to be like, oh, I don't like feel good, because then people are like, feel good, like you're getting paid for this. How does the money not make you feel good? I'm like, yo, of course, like we said, money makes the world go round, but that's just because it has to, because that's what we were born into.
Yeah.
But deep down, I know human beings really aren't about money. It's more about, of course, relationships and what you enjoy, So again, shout out to her, because that was a big step, and then it was a great thing to show a lot of people, especially youth, that like it's okay.
Yeah.
Even the adults, even the big boys and the
Gold
big girls.
was on the line, brother.
Yeah, you gotta take a step back sometimes,
Because we've seen other like famous people take their life,
Yeah.
Robin Williams, Anthony Bourdain, and you wonder, like, they had everything. On the outside, they had everything. They had a career that they loved. They had money. It's like, what happened, But then that was it. Their story, like, obviously leaves behind a legacy. But I think with Simone Biles, she was able to say, look, I might be at the peak of my, career, and me stepping down is going to say a lot, maybe negatively to some people, because I heard some people say, like, she should have just done it, But I think that it's a very good example to everyone out here that even when you're at your highest, you could say, I need a mental health break.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because, I think as a professional and a lot of people, we have a lot going on, obviously leaders in the community, and sometimes, you need to kind of take a step back, take a moment to just focus on yourself. But it's really for that mental clarity, but also to realize that we're a human being, and it's okay to make mistakes. And another thing that I want to point out is it's okay to ask for help. You should never feel, dumb. You should never feel weird. You should always ask for help if you need it. Guys, please reach out. AJ and Gabi do great work here. So if there's anything you guys need, I think please, come.
Thank you for bringing up help. Like, I still struggle with it. Like, even working here, like sometimes I feel like, dang, people are looking up to me. Like, I got things, like I can't ask for help. Like, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm weak. I'm like, But no, asking for help is actually one of the strongest things you could do ever. Like the fact that you're able to swallow your pride and be like, yo,
that's right,
I can't do this by myself.
That's right.
I need some help. That's one of the strongest things I've ever seen. Like, when I do it and I finally get that help and I accomplish what I need to accomplish, it's the best feeling in the world.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. I think that no one can do it by themselves, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things. I think we should all realize that. Shortly after my mother passed away from breast cancer, it was a very dark place, and I think we've all been in those dark places, sharing our stories, and you can't do it yourself, and that same concept applies to any concept or any topic in your life. Is ask for help, build relationships, and benefit off each other and work together, because the money comes, when you put money second place and you put relationships in first. So things will come always.
Because I feel like what good does it do if you can ask for help, if you're surrounded by people that aren't willing to help you, or maybe see you as or maybe they're just not ready to help you. Like I shared it before, when I reached out to some people that I felt like could help me, I got that you're obsessed, get over it. Like, we've talked about those sayings that we grew up hearing, ponte las pilas and man up and stuff, or aliviánate, and nobody hears you out. Nobody says what are you really feeling? And that's one thing that we hope to create here in Poiema, because it started with us. I really went through a mental crisis, I would say, a few months ago. Everything seemed so overwhelming, starting this on my own, and then just going through my own personal stuff. It felt like if I didn't have them here, AJ and I don't think that I almost closed the doors for a minute and said, I need just some time for myself, But again, I think the importance of having people around you that are just willing to listen without judgment, that are willing to say, I might not be the person that can help you. I don't know. I understand how you're feeling, but let's go find someone that can, you know.
Yeah.
And that's very important, you know, to have that environment and have like relationships that are gonna allow you to ask for help.
And I think you know that's probably one of the realistic things you've said, because I think that for me personally, I think that um, you know, asking for help, and also, I mean, these are realistic things that happen, you know, and just like you said, I mean, you know, you being a new business owner, you know, you got overwhelmed, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the reality. I mean, you know, we all feel that way, you know, and especially, you know, if you're establishing a new business, or whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
it's important for you to ask, you know, for help or anything you can get. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, I was still working my job full time, so it was like it felt like my job, and then you know the studio felt like another full time, and then my kids, and that's like what we forget sometimes, like you were saying that um, business owners sometimes are just coming up, but they still have to work a job that pays while they build their job up.
That's
So
right.
it's like human beings dealing with life apart from you know a business. Sometimes you get customers that you know give are not make it not so fun and stuff like that, but again, just realizing that everybody is a human being at the end of the day.
That's right. I think that's what 2021 is about. You know, it's your mental health game, and realizing that we're all human, we all make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I also do want to ask you guys, and just from your point of view, is, you know, if there was some financial resource that you think is important for our Hispanic community, our minority community, and the rest of you guys watching this YouTube video, um, what would you guys like to see, you know, or what's something that you guys would like to see mentioned more often, or maybe offered more at our community resource centers?
Uh, Personally, I think we have a lot of undocumented people that we need to get documented, you know, and find a way for that to happen rather than, you know, I guess, kind of pushing people out because there's so many amazing people here,
Yeah.
like undocumented, that do a lot of work, you know, that put in a lot of work, that put in a lot of effort for this country, and they almost get no return for that in a sense. So I know that's like a weird thing. Like I don't know how the community would be able to do that, but that's what I would desire, is to see more people becoming more able to do things in this country,
Yeah.
be more free.
Yeah.
You know, in the sense of like how getting them to be able to get healthcare and things of that nature. You know, like being undocumented is so awful. The constant fear. Like I
Of
can't say I've
course.
been through it, but like I've known people, the constant fear of like getting deported, and then imagine being a child
Yeah.
born here and then getting deported. You don't know anything about the country you're about to get sent to. You know.
Yeah.
So I think for me, the number one thing for the Hispanic community and almost any community that comes here, illegally, is to find a good way to, you know, to get them to be legal citizens.
Yeah.
You know, I think it would also benefit our country having more mouths that, or not mouths, more pockets,
More
to,
pockets.
to feed the economy. You know, legally as well. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Find some kind of financial ways to help them kind of, you know, get established in this
Exactly.
country, and offer some kind of programs or assistance, which, you know, I agree with you. I mean, I actually was illegal myself at one point, and I can tell you the process is not cheap. And so, you know, that's definitely one community resource.
Exactly. That's what it's not cheap, and it's like they're already struggling. They came to this country like with almost nothing, and now they're working hard to just live here, and they still have to feel the fact that they can't live here peacefully. Like, that would be the number one resource I would want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I think it would be like, you know, like I share that same story. We were undocumented. My dad was always working. My mom never worked, you know, to take care of us. And that's one thing I wish, like, you know, we would have seen a little bit more, is like more money for families that can have extracurricular activities for their kids, because I think that it helps a lot socially and mentally and emotionally. You know, because we the protective factors that a youth or a child could have is like playing a sport, or like painting or art, or playing a music instrument. And if you have parents that financially cannot provide that, then that child, like I think about it in my life, I'm like, we all we did was watch TV and just like go to church. And I wish like we had been like our artistic you know, creativity and talents had been tapped into a little bit more. And but I just know my parents didn't have the money for 3 girls, you know, to take us to sport, or, you know, help us do extracurricular activities. And another thing that I even hope to like bridge that gap one day is like I had a passion project. You know, my suicide and mental health awareness work is and continues to be a passion project. So I know that I didn't know, first of all, just in my personal life, I didn't have any like fundamentals in finances. And so, I mean, imagine starting a business, I didn't have those. So if there was like if I could provide money, would be for anyone out there that has a passion project. Maybe they have an awesome like business idea already, and no one's really helped them. Bridge that gap. Like, how do you start as a small business if you don't have the money? Like, I even to get this place, even to rent this location, like, they wanted a credit score that I didn't have as a business. They wanted business credit that I didn't have. So helping people establish that, like, out of high school, like in college, if you have an idea, like, for someone to come and be like, I will invest in your idea because I believe in it, I think that would be so awesome.
And I think that's one of the things I'm going to ask the audience watching this video is, please leave that in the description below. It's in the comments below, and comment. What would you guys like to see? If you're a young entrepreneur watching this video, that maybe you also have a passion project like Gabi and AJ, and something that maybe you guys would like to share, like to see. I think that we definitely want to ask you guys what you guys would like to see, because these are important topics, and Gabi's right. I'm a failed business owner myself, and I didn't have those resources, and I think it really weighs on your mental health when you're struggling to just make your dream come true, right?
Yeah, because you're like stuck, and no matter how you may get better in certain areas of your life, you still feel stuck. So for me, something that people are like, how do you do this? And I'm just like, really? Because this lights my fire. Like, this keeps me going. Like, this makes me want to wake up every day. Like, this makes me feel alive. If I could help someone, like, have their dream come true, so they could wake up every day and be like, I'm excited to, do whatever I have to do, I think that would really be suicide prevention.
Yeah, and that's essentially what we want to build. We want to build some kind of foundation that's gonna, some foundation for people that, essentially the entrepreneurs of the future. We want to do that, and also
give you a platform in a way. Like,
exactly.
You definitely want to platform a lot of people that probably wouldn't be able to have a platform previously.
Be a catalyst for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if it's not us that promotes them, but gets them into a place where they're able to adventure out, and seek the things that they desire. And that's what it's all about. Again, it's just getting you to a spot where you are able to achieve what you want, or realize that what you want maybe is not what you want. In a way, just getting you to a better place.
Yeah, because in school they always like made us take these classes. I'm like, what would you like to be like in college? And like, it was so standard. It's
true.
Like, they never tapped into people's creativity, like entrepreneurship. That is something pretty new in the last few years. And like, we all thought we had to be a cop, a doctor, a nurse. They were all these standard like, careers. And now if we go back into school, I think we're gonna see more youth with more creative ideas on how to make money. So innovative ideas that, obviously they need money for. Like, you need a logo, you need to pay someone to design it. You need gear, you need, someone to tap in, give you shirts and all those things that, like, so I'm sure that we can.
How to teach you to do things like that.
Yeah, like connecting those bridges so that they could find like their way into successful business.
That's what I'm excited about too. Is that we connect with a lot of people. Not only that we help, but we hope that will help us get people to the right places. Like you were saying, like, if we can meet somebody with a passion and we connect them to somebody that maybe can help them facilitate that.
Yeah.
That's
like
what it's
mentorship.
all about. Yeah, mentorship, but like along the way, helping them feel better, and becoming the person that we know they are, but that they don't see. Because everybody, I think, is amazing inside, but what depression and mental health do is just to subdue that, and make you see all the things that are not true, and amplify the things that may negatively, you're not comfortable with. So the whole point is, again, to get you to a comfortable place, and hopefully we have those resources to facilitate people like, oh wow, we know this one guy who like is really good at making shirts. If you're into making shirts, go that way. And then like again, just giving people opportunities.
Yeah, build a community here, and I support Poiema. I support it, and I think that's what we strive to do, and that's the reason why we're here. So, more things to come, guys. Thank you again for allowing me to interview you guys. Again, thank you to Ed and Cosmic Creations. But by any chance, guys, please give us your social media. Share the accounts. That way, if people want to follow you guys, please. Obviously, I'll put it in the description below, but please go ahead.
So you can find me at Gabi, Gabi, Vargas, Vargas, Poiema, Poiema, and then from there you get to the promised land.
promise, man. For me, it's just Poiema Studio.aa or AJ, you know, because that's my only name. I don't have any others. And then bleach fajita if you want the spicy.
Well, thank you guys again. Again, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the Small Business Adventures channel. And again, thank you guys, and until the next episode.